Okay, so let's start. Start with comfortable supported child's pose. Take your time to like get into the pose. Kind of find out, you know, how wide you want your knees to go out, and then keeping your big toes together. Obviously, the wider you go, the more stretch you get in the groin area, but depends on how tight you feel today as well. And then, you know, before you go down, just kind of like sit back towards the heels and just kind of give yourself a moment to start to focus on the body. Okay, and then just noticing that you want to roll the shoulders back and down, just letting yourself kind of ease into the practice, softening your gaze. You can even, you know, soften the jaw a little bit, and you'll feel that your body is slowly kind of sinking downwards, grounding towards the mat. And then when you're ready, you can slowly come forward. So have your cushion kind of supporting, you know, your abdomen, just below the abdomen, so that you're still able to push kind of your bum down towards the heel. So you're not completely on top of the cushion. So your bum is still towards the heels. And then when you're ready, you can turn your head to the side. And for arm position, you can either have them pointing forward, or if your knees are not too wide out, you can have your arms backwards with your palms facing up, whatever makes your shoulder feels good. Just give yourself some time to kind of find that comfortable, sweet spot. And then once you're there, you just kind of let your breath take the lead. You're encouraged to close your eyes in this one. Imagine this, the cushion or your support in the middle of the body. You kind of want to wrap your shoulders and just kind of let it kind of drape over towards the edges of the cushion. And the same thing goes for the rest of the spine. Let your abdomen relax. The breath is very gentle. Soft. Not too much effort into breathing too deeply, since we're facing down. I'm just want to use the child's pose as a good starting point to gauge where your body is at tonight. Also kind of consciously relax the shoulders away from the ears. Relax the back of your neck. As you stay in the child's pose, you want to think about the tailbone reaching down towards the heel. And imagine someone kind of just anchoring it down for you. So that when you breathe in and out, that lower back, the bum kind of stay grounded towards the mat. One more minute. Inhale. And then you're gonna slowly come back up. And this time you're just gonna take the bolster away. And we're gonna stretch out the toes a little bit. So you're gonna tuck your toes underneath as much as you can. And you're gonna push the balls of your feet down towards the mat. And if you have sort of tender knees issue, you can have your hands supporting yourself on the floor, so the stretch is not as intense. If you're feeling okay, you can come up a little bit and kind of use more of your body weight to stretch out your toes. Now we won't stay in this one for too long. So this kind of little joints area is places that we don't normally use during the day. Not to that extent anyways. So you can also push down kind of the outer edge where the pinky toe is to make sure that you're stretching all 10 toes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wonderful. Let's come out of the pose and just stretch your leg back. Take your time. This time you can stretch the heel. You imagine kind of you're doing kind of like this half downward dog, so you're stretching the heel towards the mat. You'll feel your calves, and you just switch leg, stretching the heel. Great. You're gonna come back to the center. You're gonna come onto this table pose where your hands are just underneath your shoulders. Your knees are hip distance apart, right underneath your hips. And you're just gonna move with your breath a few times into cat and cow's pose. We're doing a little bit more sort of active movements tonight at the beginning, simply because we didn't have class last week, so you might be a little bit tighter than usual. So this active moving is going to help warm up the body. Also helps for you to find out if there's any particular spot that's tighter than usual. Move through a few more breaths. And then when you're ready, you can come back to the center. We're going to enter into the first twist of tonight. So we're going to take the left arm through, rest the left shoulder on the floor, head on the floor. And then with your right palm on the mat, you're just going to take your time and come on to a gentle twist. Either looking to the side of the room or turning to gaze up towards the ceiling. Now, as you twist in this fashion, your hips tend to go out of alignment. So I want you to try to bring that right hip back a little bit. So don't let that right hip come towards your shoulder. Great, you're gonna come back to the center. We're just gonna stretch back into child's pose for a couple of breaths just to neutralize the spine. And then we're gonna come up again and do the twist on the other side. Right shoulder on the mat, head on the floor, left palm being the support, twisting, turning up, and then so imagine your left side of the body is now kind of scrunched up. I want you to kind of keep it nice and long. So you're gonna extend the left hip towards the back of the room. Great, and then releasing that, coming back to the center, step back towards child's pose. Great, I'm gonna go into swan pose. So we're gonna bring that right leg forward next to your right hand. Now the angle of your knee is solely dependent on how you feel tonight. So the deepest you should go is 90 degree. If you feel tight, you can bring your foot back a little bit. If you feel good, you can have it as 90 degrees. Stretch that back leg back towards the room. You can have your toes flat because this is going to be a passive stretch. So you want your back foot to be kind of relaxed. Take your time and just kind of like move your hips in a circular motion just to warm up that hip area first. And then when you feel ready, you can either stay here or lower down towards the elbows. Or if you have a block and you're kind of in between the elbows and palms, you can use the block to kind of rest your forehead down until your elbows can reach the mat. And you can adjust the height of the block. Find something to support your head so you're not kind of trying to hold your head up for the next couple of minutes. So you're going to focus your energy in just stretching out the hip. So with this one, you're going to feel the right inner groin and also the left. For the left side, you're going to probably feel more towards the front, kind of like the psoas area. I'm going to time this one. I'm going to stay in this side for 2 minutes. If it starts to get too intense for you, you can always come back up a little bit higher. And you're going to slowly come out of this pose by, with your hands, just kind of supporting yourself back up. It's going to take a little bit longer than usual for me to get out of this pose, actually. Take your time and wiggle that right foot back. And you're going to sit back towards child's pose to rest. You're going to feel pretty big difference between the two sides. For me, that right side kind of immediately feel a little bit lighter. The tightness has softened a lot already. And then when you're ready, we're going to go on to the left side. So same thing. Take time to set up your swan pose. Left leg forward. As for the direction of your left toes, you can either have it kind of pointing straight forward or slightly out to the side. But whatever you do, keep the alignment of your toes and your knee the same. Then take your time, kind of move it in the circular motion again. And then when you're ready, you can lower down to your desired stage. You may find that you're tighter towards the beginning, and then halfway through you feel like you can go a little bit deeper, then you can go ahead and do so. So same thing on this side. We'll stay here for about 2 minutes. It's also a very good time to reflect on your sensation right now. You can double check whether or not you're feeling the same area on both sides, or you're feeling a slightly different spot that's tighter on one side than the other. And then just kind of being aware about that. Being aware there are some imbalances happening in the body. And you can slowly come out. And supporting yourself, take your time, sweeping that left foot back. And now go back to child's pose one more time. For me now, it definitely feels like both sides have been stretched out, and it feels like it's a lot more balanced. Great. We're going to go into locust pose, which is a supported gentle back bend. So going to come down and go onto our stomach with the feet slightly apart, about hip distance, toes pointing straight back. You're going to have your elbows kind of on the floor, elbows on the floor, palms down, and then rolling the shoulders back a little bit. Just staying here. This is again a passive position, so you don't have to, you know, be too active in terms of the arch of the back, as well as you don't have to be too active in terms of the chest coming forward. It's more letting gravity do its work. The neck, you just want to pay attention to the neck and make sure that it's kind of in neutral position. Your shoulders are not close to the ears, your shoulders away from the ears. Last 10 breaths. And then you can release. This time you just relax all the way onto the mat. Turn your head to the side. Bring your arms back, palms facing up. And then this time you're going to bring your hands underneath your chin. And then we're going to go into the butterfly position from here. So you're just going to bring your knees out to the side a little bit, and then you're going to keep your feet together. And the more you bring out your legs, the deeper the position. So as you can see, because I'm super tight in this one, if I go a little bit wider, my butt comes up immediately. So I just want to find that sweet spot where I can feel a little bit of stretch and that I'm able to hold for a while. So in here, if I just kind of let gravity do its work, when my feet are kind of coming down towards the mat, I'll feel very gentle stretch along, again, the inner groin. That's it. Great. From like just years of like practicing and like watching my students and watching other teachers with this particular area of the body where your femur joints, the hip, I find that a lot of times, stretches will help the fascia, the tendon, but there's some times when you're limited with your actual bone structure. So there are some people that I know who've never exercised a day in their life, but they can actually go completely flat in this one. That's super amazing for me. So, story is that don't get discouraged. It's not your fault, it's your bones. Great. And you're just gonna release your legs down towards the mat. And just gonna bring them back together. And then again, turn your head to the other side and let it rest. Great. And then now you're gonna come back up. We're gonna sit on the mat. And we're gonna change into the deer pose, stretching the outside of your thighs. So for the first one, you're gonna have your left foot 90 degree, left knee 90 degree, the shin parallel to the front edge of the mat, the shoulder edge. And then you're gonna have your right knee, you're gonna bend that, and then you're gonna have the shin parallel to the long edge of the mat. Great. And if you have the bolster or the cushion, have it next to you, next to your right side of your hip. And make sure that your left shin is parallel to the short edge of the mat, right shin is parallel to the long edge. And then when you're ready, you're gonna twist chest towards the cushion, and you're gonna come down with your hands supporting you. Take your time. You may feel, a pretty good stretch already along this back side. See how far you can go. If you're comfortable, lie all the way flat onto the cushion. You can turn your head towards the right to complete the twist. Okay, so you're gonna come back up slowly. And you don't have to move your cushion, you just have to shift yourself 90 degrees so you're facing the short edge of the mat. And you're gonna set up your legs exactly the same way as before. Same angle. This time you just kind of turn 90 degrees. So the right shin is now parallel to the short edge, and the left shin is parallel to the long edge. And once you have that ready, you can start to kind of lean back onto the cushion. If you don't have a cushion, just have your hands supporting you, fingers pointing at yourself if you can. If it bothers your shoulders or your wrists, you can have your fingers pointing backwards. And you're gonna lie back towards the cushion. The bolster should sit right underneath your lower back, or we call it the sacrum area. So the bum is still on the floor. You have full support along your spine. To deepen the stretch, you can kind of move that left leg closer towards yourself instead of closer towards the front edge of the mat. That way you're making the stretch, the angle of the stretch, even bigger. This is a good stretch for the internal rotation of your thigh, also kind of inside, closer to the inner sort of quad area. Ten more deep breaths. And then you're going to slowly come back up. Take your time and just swing that left leg forward. And then have your legs a little bit apart, kind of almost like mat distance apart. Pull your hips back a little bit. Keep your knees soft. You're just going to curl the spine, just soften the spine a little bit, and just kind of let yourself come forward into a supported forward stretch. You can let your knees come out, so you're almost kind of doing like a little turtle where like your back is rounded, your head is down, and your knees are out. Great, slowly come up. We're gonna do the deer stretch, which is the one with the twist on the left side. So we're gonna set it up with, you're gonna face the left side of your mat, left knee bent, left shin parallel to the long edge, right shin parallel to the short edge. You're gonna then do a twist, see how far you can go, if you're comfortable, and if your chest is able to face the mat, you can come down towards the cushion. For this one, you should feel a long stretch along kind of like your rib cage down to your waist, down towards the top of your glutes, and then all the way down, extending towards the glutes. If you even stretch and reach the right arm further away from you, you'll feel that stretch extending towards your lats. And more deep breaths. And you're gonna slowly come up. Take your time, untwist yourself, and then you're gonna shift 90 degrees. So you're facing the short edge of the mat now. Same legs position though. And then when you're ready, you can start to lean back. And you can slowly come up, supporting yourself with the elbows first. Coming up, and you're gonna swing that right leg forward again. This time, doing a little bit more of a forward bend instead of just a forward fold. You're gonna keep your legs a little bit closer and try not to let your knees go out to the side. So you're keeping the knees kind of pointing upwards, but still soft knees. And you're gonna slowly come forward first with the belly towards the thigh, and then you can relax your neck down. If you find that you're tight in the hamstrings tonight and you're unable to kind of relax the knees, you can slide some towel underneath your knees, kind of roll it up like a little mini support, and then just have your knees rest on top of the towel so it's not kind of shaking in midair. With the knees pointing straight up towards the ceiling, you will feel the stretch directly on the middle of the back of your thighs. You may even feel it from the top of the hamstring, which is where it's attaching towards your hip, your little two pointy bits. And you can slowly come out of the forward bend and take your cushion away. And we're gonna lie down and do some more hip stretches. Lying down, you're gonna bend your knees towards you, and we're gonna release your lower back a little bit by hugging your knees towards your chest. And move in a circular motion. And then you can open up your legs into happy baby pose, grabbing onto the inner side of the heels, bring the knees out to the side. Before you go straight into the happy baby, you can also move your hips a little bit, up and down with your knees. And then again, just being more aware of your body's makeup and knowing where you need stretch the most. Then you can sort of bring the knees down towards the mat. Again, it's a passive stretch, so using the weight of your hands to kind of just bring that down. Keeping your chin in neutral position. The happy baby pose is exactly like a deep air squat if you're doing it inverted. So, but without the gravity of the air squat, you're going to feel more of the stretch of your hamstrings. And so that's why you might feel the groin a little bit tighter. And then you're just going to release the happy babies and crisscross your legs, crossing over the knee. So with the right leg over the left first. You're going to drop your legs towards the left side. With your legs still kind of wrapped around each other. Extend your arms out to the side like a T shape. And you're going to finish the twist by turning your head towards the right. Try to keep that right shoulder on the floor. I would encourage the twist of the thoracic spine as well. Then with your legs still crossed, you're going to bring it back to the center. And without switching your knees yet, you're going to drop it to the other side as a counter twist. And then coming back to the center. Now uncross and do the other side. So left leg over the right. You're going to drop your legs down to the right side. Aim to drop the knees to touch the floor. Turn the head to the left. Left shoulder on the floor. Then you're going to bring it back to the center. Counter twist. So dropping the legs to the other side. And then bring it back to the center. Uncross your legs. And now you may find your last position for the evening. You can set up my favorite Supta Baddha Konasana with a block, or just Supta Baddha Konasana on the floor, or just Savasana. So I'm going to set it up with a little bit of a height. And then I'm going to sit with my feet together, knees open out to the side, and just resting my back. And then allowing the chest to open up and just dropping the arms out to the side. And slowly wiggle your fingers and your toes. Stretching your arms up above your head. And big exhalation. Take your time. You can, if you're in the butterfly, you can close your knees up. And you can shift to come off to the side and slowly come up. Sun is still out. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Thank you, Sherry. Thanks, guys. I hope to see you guys next time.
Thank you. That was fabulous.
Thank you.
Really
Hope you had a nice
tonight.
stretch.
Very much.
I feel super tight tonight.
So
Super tight.
we giggled our way through.
At one point, I was like, "Oh, I think I'm stuck. I think I'm stuck." I try to get out of this gracefully.
Well, you made it up to this